Okay, let's continue on hypothesis for two independent samples. So in this experiment, a group of college students was told that they were participating in a manual skill study. Portion of the students were given a stack of money to count, and other portion of the student was given a blank piece of paper to count. After a counting task, the participants were asked to dip their hands into hot water and rate how uncomfortable it was for them. The following data shows rating of pain similar to the result obtained in the study. So these are basically our rating, as you see down here. Now they said, is there a significant difference in reported pain between these two population mean? Use a two-tailed test. Well, if there's a significant difference, we know already it's going to be two-tailed test. So it's also mentioned here two-tailed test with the alpha level. So we're going to do a 6-step hypothesis test. Before we do so, we need to fill out some information. Okay. So, well, what are the information is given in this class, in this one here. So these are the information is given. So N1 is given as a 6, M1, add all the number and divide by number of numbers. So it's approximately 8.83. And SS1 is not given, so we really have to work out for this one. Sum of x squared minus sum of x to the power 2 over n. And I did this ahead of time, and that gave me SS1 approximately 58.83. Let me show you actually how I get this SS1. Okay, so seems like, well, I have that. Let me show you again. So I'm going to erase the calculator and I'm going to type this. Any calculator has a data tab on it, you can work it on. So this is TI-30. It's a little bit different than physical version of TI-30 calculator, but its skin is same, different, but function is same. So press data and you're going to type all those numbers. 10, enter, 6, enter, 6, enter, 9, enter, 15, enter, 7, enter. And you go second data, enter. As you clearly see, 8.83, and sample size is 6. And of course, these are the information we need, sum of x squared and sum of x. So 527, take away 53 square over n. So let me show you actually how you work it out. 527 minus 53 square, obviously 6 sample, enter. This is a fraction, definitely going to use double arrow. That's a 58.83 approximately. That is how you do the second one also, same way. Okay, so now the second one giving us, let's take a look here. So this one giving us N1 is equal to 5, M1 is equal to 7, SS2 the same way I did that. In this case is going to be exact, which is 20, and also alpha is given as a 0.05. So these are the information is given. We are going to construct a 6-step hypothesis test. So let's do this first step. Step 1. We're assuming they are equal. So we're saying population mean. Well, let's do the hypothesis as a symbol. Null hypothesis. H stands for hypothesis. Subscript 0 stands for null hypothesis. Population mean 1 minus population mean 2 equal to 0. We assume they are equal. Some book they write down population mean 1 equal to population mean 2. That is fine. Or some book they said population mean A minus population mean B equal to 0. Again, all of them are same. You don't have to worry about this. As a matter of fact, some book they write down there is no significant difference between this population mean. So step 2. Alternative hypothesis. H subscript A, H for hypothesis, A for alternative. Right away we say, you know what, you may be not telling the truth. Is not equal to 0. They are not equal to 0. Okay, so step 3. We do the critical value. by using the alpha level. So what is the, how do you find the critical value? So we need degree of freedom, which is n1 plus n2 minus 2. In this case, 6 plus 5 minus 2. There is a sample of 6, sample of 5. There is a 2 groups, so we add them and subtract 2. That is going to give us a 9. Okay, that is going to give us a 9. Then alpha level is 0.05. We go down to this one. We're going to have a plus and minus. Let me show you. I use this one here. Okay, so I use, okay, so this is the T table down here, and definitely I'm using this table from this book. Okay, now T distribution. So there is a two-tail, definitely is given as a two-tail. Clearly it says in the problem two-tail, as you see right there. Okay, so two-tail. Now two-tail is 0.05. So we go down here, and degree of freedom is basically 9. Here you go, that's a 9. So 2.262. So 2.262. 2.262. So that's the critical value. Notice that is very important. This is going to be the critical value that will separate the rejection area to non-rejection area. Now let's do the step 4. Step 4. Test statistic. Test statistics. So this one is going to be a little bit longer or bigger, as you will see. Okay, test statistics. So the test is going to be basically sample mean 1 minus sample mean 2 minus population mean 1 minus population mean 2. You know, this is going to be 0 automatically, because we are assuming this is going to be 0. That is our claim actually. So next thing we do, the standard error of the mean. So this is going to be standard error of the mean. Full variance over n1. Well, if it was one sample, we just stop it there. This is standard error of the mean. But there is a 2 sample. So full variance over n2. Where full variance is equal to SS1 plus SS2 over degree of freedom. So remember, we need this first because this is not given in the problem, so we have to work it out. So we substitute this. SS1 is also given in the problem down here. That is the SS1. I want to make sure that we understand. This is the SS1 given, and this is the SS2 is given. So we are fooling that information actually. So SS1 is given as a 58.83 plus 20 over degree of freedom, which is the 9. Again, that's the degree of freedom. Already we worked out, so we just use that one. Okay, so S P square full variance is equal to, you do this, I did that ahead of time, is 8.76. Let me show you here with the calculator. So I'm going to clear it. Okay, I'm going to clear it, and I'm going to show you here. So you do 58.83 plus 20, go down 9, degree of freedom, enter 8.76. Clearly that's how you do this. This is called full variance. Once we have a full variance, all we do, we're going to plug it in here. We're going to plug it in here. Okay, so everything else is given now here. Everything else is given. So all we do, we just substitute. So T is equal to, M1 is given as a 8.83. 8.83 minus mean 2, sample mean 2 is given as a 7, minus, we assume this is going to be 0, over square root of 8.76 over n1. This time is sample size is 6. This is not a degree of freedom, it's just sample size. We don't subtract 1. Plus same full variance, 8.76 over, this time is sample size 5. Again, sometimes you have the same sample, identical half, so that is okay too. Now we put on in the calculator, any calculator, it should give us approximately 1.02. Let me actually show you how you type this in the calculator. Okay, so you have this fraction button, which is very useful, and 8.83 minus 7, go down, or you can put minus 0, nothing is going to change actually. Second x square, big square root, and then you use this n over d is going to give you fraction 8.76 over 6, go to the right, plus same thing 8.76, go down, type 5, enter. Look, exactly same thing I have, 1.02. That's my test statistics. Now my step 5 is going to be decision actually. So step 5 is going to be my decision here. So step 5. Decision. So how do we decide? We compare critical value, test statistic with the critical value. So let's do this here. That's a bell curve, bell shape. And we have a critical value. Let's take a look here. What was the critical value? As you will see, the critical value is 2.262. So if this is identical here, 0, 1, 2, 3. So 2.2 is going to be this critical value, the critical line, and 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be another line. So this is basically 2.262, and this is negative 2.262, and this line is responsible for separating the critical region from the non-rejection area. So while our test is falling, well, look at this here test, we're comparing this test. If this test is falling inside the critical region, look at this here, it's falling inside here. Okay, this is inside. So we say fail to reject. Fail to reject null hypothesis. If something falls inside this housing, right, we fail to reject. In other words, accept it. If something is outside, we reject it. It's a rejection area. So this doesn't fall in a rejection area, so we just keep it. In other words, we say fail to reject. Fail to reject the null hypothesis. So that is our step 5. Now our step 6 is a conclusion. We say at 5% significant level, 5% significant level, the data does not provide enough information to conclude that there is a significant difference in reported fin between the two conditions. Okay, that's all basically. So at 5% significant level, data does not provide sufficient evidence to conclude that there is a significant difference between